Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. This is the 2025 edition. Obviously, brand new year. We'll get things started, this year with not a ton of news. Some people are already complaining in the Dynamo feed, especially of, nothing really happening, right? Day one, how come we haven't signed anybody? So at this point, there's not a ton of news, to indulge or to talk about. But I am joined by Cristian Putalias. Brother, how you been, man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm great, man. I'm glad to be back. I'm wearing pink, so I'm feeling adventurous. So, yeah, let's do it, man. 2025 is ours.
Hey, you got to get that Soccer Matters thing. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that, actually, because that's the last time I saw you. But, man, to introduce a familiar voice probably to a lot of the Houston Dynamo fans in particular and, soccer in Texas for sure. Joining us is also Edson Ochoa. Edson, welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast, brother.
Soccer royalty over here. Oh, look at him.
He's gonna bring the pain today. How you been, man?
Where are all my movements, Dynamo? FO, nope. Come on. I don't want to use this hammer right here.
I know. What's it called? Kings? What is it? Los Reyes Magos. No, they didn't bring anything, man.
Nah, they slacking this year, man. They're slacking.
It's kind of not all that great. But, man, how you guys been? Obviously, it's been a bit since we've talked. I think we last recorded an episode about, 3 weeks ago, Chris? And then we did put an improv one, a kind of quick one that Dustin and Joey were able to chat with Pat Onstad before the MLS Super Draft. So anyway, they're already blaming you, Edson, man. They gotta be blaming you for all the bad things that happened with the Dynamo, I suppose. But hey, yeah. So it's been a minute. The last time I saw Christian physically was at Glenn Davis. Was a Christmas party, I suppose, that he threw, and that's where you got the pink jersey or the pink shirt, right?
Yep.
I'm colorblind. I thought it was white. If it wasn't because you said it was pink, I would have never.
Don't bring up that dress again. That was blue or black.
Was it 10 years from now? I saw that, man. Yeah,
that's
somebody
crazy.
was reposting. I was like, I see the gold and white. I think that's what it was.
So, I can see both, but
yeah, you close one eye like this and then the other one like that. But yeah, man, obviously, how you been, Edson? Last time we talked too, you were kind of sad with the whole RGV Toros kind of, ending for you guys, kind of unexpected, not unexpected. But it seems like, the Valley's still hungry for soccer and they're trying to build something over there. So hopefully they don't keep you too much in the dark, but at least you have the Dynamo and the Dash to follow up on, man.
Definitely, man. I think taking I guess you could say a sabbatical in 2024 really helped me out to kind of enjoy soccer as a fan once again, and honestly, just having the Dynamo and the Dash to watch the games, just for the sake of watching it. It was really enjoyable experience, I guess you could say results for the Dash wasn't up to snuff. I will admit that, but just being able to watch a game and just enjoy it, it was really, really helpful for me and my sanity in 2024 without, having any podcast to do anymore. Thank you, Alonso Cantu.
You're muted, but
I was gonna say, yeah, that's what happens, obviously, right? It gets the poor always have to suffer, man. If you were the owner, you'd be doing something different for sure, right? Bringing some joy to the people, my friend. No, it is a little sad. Obviously, it's funny. I guess that I started, obviously, the Dynamo, the RGV always had that thing, the weird thing. No one liked really each other, but they kind of wanted to make it work so bad. And towards the end, I was trying to watch RGB games, especially because they were on ESPN Plus. You know,
Hmm.
ESPN Plus had all those games, so it was easy to catch a lot of those USL matches for sure, man. So I actually passed through the stadium and I wanted to stop by, but I mean, they had already, I guess, gotten rid of the club, and I was like, what are they gonna do now with that stadium? It was a nice little stadium. I mean, it's they're doing the football games, right?
Yes, they're going to be starting in 2025. And so they're going to be doing a lot of remodeling at the stadium in these next couple of months. So I honestly think 2025 is going to be I think they're kind of pushing their luck on being able to use the stadium. But I guess we'll see it. I thought it was going to be a long time when they announced it till UTRGV was going to be playing their football game there, or expected to, and now we're already starting 2025. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, it is now going to be a football stadium.
So sad.
What do you think they'll have any games down there by any means? You know, obviously there was a couple international friendlies and stuff like that. None of that probably is gonna happen in
No,
McAllen area.
from what I have seen, I know they made comments in to certain local journalists that UTRGV has no intention of using the former HEB Park as a soccer stadium in any capacity, not even for UTRGV soccer.
Wah. That's just disappointing, man. That's for sure. I was hoping that Santa Claus will bring you something different, man, in Christmas time, Edson. But as Jeff mentions, football is not a football stadium. That's so true. Um, what about you, Chris? Man, obviously, you had the holidays as well. You have a packed house with so many little ones, not in school. Everybody's in because it's cold. Well, how's your sanity so far, man?
We're holding on, man. I mean, I just gotta keep, as long as I keep my wife sane, she keeps everybody else sane. But no, we're doing we're doing great. As one of them just came out of his room wearing a beanie. It's like, where you going to? Like, I know it's cold, but don't go to sleep with a beanie on. But no, I mean, it's been great. Nice time off, getting ready to watch more soccer. Honestly, there's not a lot to report on. I mean, I keep it pretty boring life. If I'm not watching soccer, then I'm probably trying to do something around it. But we've been doing our vote league that started, so I've been calling games there. But I'm just actually waiting just for the season to start, and then I'll make not a promise, but I guess I'll say that this 2025 I will watch more than one dash game. So I'll try to keep up with that, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We're gonna have to hold it. You know, if we're gonna count it as soon as the season starts, it's like, how many games have you had, bro? How many games have you gone to? How many games have you watched? For sure. But obviously, before we started recording, man, we talked about how cold it is, and Edson was
Bruh.
flexing how he's living in paradise right now. What city are you in RGV? I mean, everything's literally you walk a street and it's another city, another town, man. It's like you got Miss Mission, you have McAllen, like everything's just right there, man. Uh-oh.
No te escuchamos.
Edson, I
So
think
I
Uh-oh.
am in
Oh,
yeah.
there you
So
go.
I
There you
am
go.
in McAllen,
just
Texas.
scare me. There you go.
So I am smack dab in the middle of Hidalgo County, and yeah, I guess I can flex again. Currently, we are at 50 degrees, and apparently it feels like 52 degrees. Seems
That's
legit.
weird.
It
Yeah,
feels-
but
feels
no,
good.
actually, so actually, I just got back right before coming on here. I went to go walk my dog with my parents, and it actually feels colder than 50 degrees. So I'm
Somebody's
gonna
tripping.
yeah, somebody's tripping here because usually in these kind of things you get the wind chill, not the heat index. So, whatever.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day, or actually, I think it was yesterday. It said basically like if outside is colder than my don't even let me get out. You know, and I was like, yeah, that sounds right. I mean, no matter how old we are, to me, once it's a little under 70, man, I start feeling cold. But I was telling you guys, I had to completely forgot that it was trash day tomorrow, so I had to run and do it now when it was much colder. And it gets to the point that you're you're the adult as well in the household, so you have to be the one in charge of like winterizing stuff, and granted,
Covering pipes and stuff.
granted, don't tell my dad, but he never did any of that. So we just got lucky. My entire childhood of pipe bursting or whatever. But that so I learned my lessons differently. Gotta figure it out on my own, guys. But no, man. Again, it's introducing this new show, or well, more like a new year. I call this episode "New Year, New Me," like question mark. It is going to look a little different, and that's kind of what we're hoping that it does. So, Edson's obviously invited to be on this podcast anytime he wants. And if he wants to do it in the back as well, like producing, one thing that I was telling him is like, man, the more I do StreamYard and stuff like that, the more I realize you definitely need somebody in the back just kind of messing with the stuff. And fun fact, I actually did it one time for when I think it was Dustin, Manny, and Theo like did like a dash thing, and I just sat in the back like doing the slides, and it was actually kind of fun. I like trying to keep up with what they're saying, even though I created the slides and I was the one trying to hurry up and find them. It was still interesting for my first time. It wasn't too bad. But Chris, before we get too ahead of ourselves, man, if you want to tell the people how they can connect with us, bro.
Yeah, man. The website is, like always, BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to be able to find everything and anything that you are looking for in content when it comes to Houston soccer. So go check that out. Go check out social medias, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Blue Sky. So go check us out over there at Bayou City Soccer. Check out the YouTube channel. You're probably on it right now. You might be on Twitter or X. So go check out the YouTube channel. That's where we're going to have all the conversations that we're having this year. Since we're trying to do new things, we're obviously going to have more of the Orange Talks. We're going to debut a new segment where we're going to be talking to different people in the Houston area, that are related, to the soccer community. So trying to get, a little bit of light to them as well. And we're just going to, keep doing the same interviews, keep doing the same type of writing that we have been doing. So a little bit more of tactical analysis with the guys, bring in the numbers, bring in all the nerdy stuff as well. So if you guys stay tuned, you're going to be able to find out and see a lot of different things like that. And yeah, so hopefully you guys join in and go check us out at BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find anything and everything. And don't forget to check out Ugly Guppy for uglyguppy.com. So check those guys out and give us.
Hey, I see you're not wearing your hat. I mean, you're wearing a beanie, and it makes a lot of sense. This beanie came from them. So we only got one. There's literally one of a kind. I'll sell it to you guys for $1,000 minimum. So, especially when it's 30 degrees and under. So, you guys can fight for it. But no, you're right. I mean, I think we're going to create, I think finally this is year number 3 finally, right? Of Bayou City Soccer kind of on its own. I think we finally kind of figure out what we need to do and kind of how to do it. But as we continue to grow, man, that's why we, have decided to reach out to Edson. Obviously, like I think of quality over quantity any day. So just, people like that are very passionate about covering not just the Houston Dynamo and Dash, which obviously that's our bread and butter at the end of the day here in Houston, but just, soccer in general, whether it be, in Texas, grassroots, whatever, we're going to try to push it, even though it's really difficult being that there's so many different teams and leagues everywhere, but main focus will be the professional teams in Houston. And I want to talk about a segment. I want to introduce a segment, not this episode, but one that I had in mind. We tend to do giveaways for tickets every now and then. Pretty good seats that we get to give away, but I would love to create like a fan feud segment. So like if people are interested, the listeners, right, they're here and the people viewing us right now on YouTube or afterwards, to come in and have like the two people go at it with questions of like see who gets it right, like kind of quiz them on whether they're watching the Dynamo or Dash, kind of hit them with questions like that. See who actually knows the team. That'd be interesting. Since you mentioned that, so I may have to either pre-record it or figure out a way to get this people live, since we do tend to record later at night for a lot of people. But anyways, that just my train of thought there, man. And I know
That'll be
Edson,
fun.
you probably have. I mean, apart from your Daniel Suarez altar in the back, I mean, he's a big fan of NASCAR, so that's another talking point that we're gonna have Edson the rest of the year. Which actually, before we talk full soccer, I can't wait for that freaking NASCAR documentary come out, season 2 on Netflix, man, for the playoffs. So I'm excited to see that, dude.
Yeah, so NASCAR Full Speed was it was pretty cool. Season one was pretty cool. I know a lot of fans were kind of like about it because they gave a lot of focus to Denny Hamlin in 2311. So, but I thought it was a pretty good episode. I don't think it made as big of an impact like Drive to Survive did for
Hmm.
Formula One.
Sure.
But I think it at least opened up a lot more eyes to what's going on with NASCAR, some of the stars, um, and some of the stories behind some of these drivers. So if you love those kind of documentaries, be sure to check it out. And maybe you might become just as big of a NASCAR fan as I've become. By the way, thanks Jacob Young for getting me back into motorsports.
There you go. But it's funny because Netflix has done a great job. Obviously, they just did the Saudi League, which I did not watch yet. I mean, I watched 30 minutes of the first episode, and that's pretty much it. And then
Mhm.
I watched La Liga one, and I believe MLS is in the works for one as well. So I mean, they've done a really good job with all those documentaries. So anyway,
It
they're just
it's crazy how the impact of documentaries,
for
like,
sure.
right?
Mhm.
Because I started podcasting because of Sunderland Till I Die. So that's when I watched that and I was like, what would be cool to have like a because they in that show or whatever the documentary they show a radio show that talks about the
Hmm.
team, right? And that's when I was like, well, there's not a lot of coverage. I remember that time Edson was with the Peel back in the day. It's
Mhm.
funny because I met all the guys now, and you're like, dang, like I used to listen to you guys type thing, right? And I was like, well, let me kind of help that coverage, and it's just cool how documentaries or like people doing like movies or specific content, to these specific either genres of
Hmm.
like it could be music or it could be just like a specific I don't know if cult a sport we could say because some of these sports are like very not cultish but like very just they have a specific demographic,
Mhm.
and now a lot of people that maybe are not into it or were not into it are kind of getting into it just because they saw a documentary and they feel kind of related to the characters or whatever it may be, and then they're like,
I
oh, like I started watching F1 and I'm like,
mhm.
oh, you know
And I think that's the biggest thing about it is because you feel like you are a lot more closer, or you feel a lot
yeah,
more like not really. I'm trying to think of the word, but you feel a lot more in common with them.
yeah,
For example, like let's say Wrexham, where
yeah,
where they were like, you know, way down in the ladder. Very few people even heard of Wrexham, and then this documentary comes out, and you start seeing like all the fans, how they do things over there, the players and all of that, and you feel like you mentioned, you feel connected to them, and you want to actually emulate that what you saw in your local community in the case of
yeah,
soccer.
that's true.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm a big documentary fan. Actually, now that I get to work from home most of the time, I'm just have some kind of documentary in the background. From hip hop evolution to World War II stuff. I mean, just anything. I'm like a nerd when it comes to that because I don't like to read. If we're being honest, like,
It's hard.
well, it's not even that I don't like. It's sometimes you really don't have the time to sit and like pick up a book or whatever. So, good documentaries, not like Fahrenheit 911, or the ones that have a different type of uh
Really watches cops all day.
exactly, and call it like legit, right? Yeah, or Reno 911 and call it legit.
Life PD.
Exactly. It's like, but anyways, man, you know, I wanted to talk obviously a little bit of the Houston Dynamo and Dash. I've told you guys there's not a lot, so I'd rather have fun like we've been having right now. So if you guys think of something, man, do not be afraid to interrupt it and just mention whatever the hell came to your mind as we go through these topics. But let's go ahead. Obviously there we do have like about 110 people bouncing in and out from this live stream. I'm sure they want to hear a little bit about Houston Dynamo and Dash. Yeah, crime shows are the best, Jeff. That is for sure. Um, but let's go ahead and start with the Dash. Obviously, you mentioned Edson, not the greatest year last year, not the greatest 5 years, if we're being honest. I mean, apart from the Challenge Cup, which was, in all honesty, more of a fluke than anything with COVID. And I mean, they didn't win a game during the group stage, and then eventually they just got undefeated in the playoffs, and that just happens, right? But it's been coach after coach, obviously a GM, two GMs now, technical directors. It's just a mess. I mean, what's happening with the Dash? But we finally got some news. They did hire Fabrice Guntrot as the new head coach. It took a little bit of time, but yep, they obviously announced. I'll read it right here. Announced as the new head coach, Guntrot brings extensive NWSL playoff experience and more than 15 years of coaching experience at the professional and youth levels. The search for the sixth head coach in the team history was led by president and women Angela Hikumagano, which she's brand new, so who knows how much work she extensively did. But and of course the support of the interim general manager Eric Ustruck and club ownership. So Ustruck has been fantastic. I mean, he's in the background and he's done some pretty good pickups. But I went ahead and added another slide for you guys, the fans to kind of figure out. This guy's a 37-year-old.
That's wild.
Man, I know. I'm not even gonna say my age, but I'm right there. But he playing career mostly spent in lower divisions, not just in the U.S. but abroad as well. And when it came to coaching, he was with Chicago FC United. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's Chicago Fire in my head. But you look it up, it's not even close. And but he spent time there in the academies, and of course, eventually moved to an assistant with Chicago Red Stars, and then just recently with North Carolina Courage.
That's pretty quick.
So quickly, this is his first head coaching gig. I think they haven't done the best of picking people with their first coaching gig in general and in NWSL. Obviously, Clarkson was one of those guys. Sam Lady was one of those guys, an assistant for like 10, 12 years. Fran Alonso also didn't have any experience in NWSL. He had, coach in Scotland before. But what are you guys' thoughts? Just initial thoughts on bringing this guy in? Yeah,
what about the other Spanish guy, the guy that won?
Juan Carlos Zamoros. I didn't mention.
Did he also coach in the NWSL before the Dash? I don't think so, right?
But he was La Liga, and technically he was an interim coach. So
yeah.
And he clearly can coach because he won a title like the next year after he left, right? So it's just interesting. But yeah, just your thoughts, Hudson. I know you probably had something to add about just the hire itself, I guess.
I think it's a decent hire. The thing about it is that the Dash need to really put themselves in a situation where coaches take them seriously, because I don't know if it was you guys that mentioned it publicly, that so when Fran Alonso got his new head coaching job, they asked him about what happened with the Houston Dash, and he said, oh yeah, it had like my leave of absence had nothing to do with health reasons. So it's like you weren't either he wasn't taking the Dash seriously, or the Dash trying to save face, just mentioned, for health reasons he's gonna be out. You have players, like Maria Sanchez, leaving, which it still hurts.
Fran Alonso probably said, "Me van a matar, me van a matar." So they were like, "Oh, it's health reasons."
Yeah, but it's just the fact of the matter is,
forget a Tío in there. Tío, me van a matar.
until the Dash, get the reputation on like better in the eyes of everybody around the NWSL and global women's soccer, uh, I think it's gonna be difficult, and it's gonna start now. They need to start now with this hire. Give him everything that he needs. Give him and the players an environment that they can thrive and actually help support a long-term process. We're tired as Houston Dash fans of short processes being cut short by coaches leaving for other teams in the NWSL like Juan Carlos Amoros. We're really especially tired, not just at the Dash, but in all of women's soccer, of coaches being involved in scandals. So it's time for the Dash to take itself seriously. I like what they're doing with the changes in front office, and hopefully, and I really hope that this is long term and not just short term changes of the typical high turnarounds, because other players, other coaches, other people that work within women's soccer, they see the Dash, they see a dumpster fire, they see the front office is a joke, and no, I'm gonna avoid the Houston Dash, because how many times have we seen where the Dash signed players, and you can tell right away that they don't want to be here. That you could see it in the way that they play. They don't want to be here. One of those examples, unfortunately, CZ Kaiser. And how do you change that? You have to start from within, and that's what I hope that happens in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, because in reality, when you look at, there's not that many teams, right, in NWSL. The top players, it's a pretty even league. We know that. Obviously they call it like the Premier League of women's soccer in that sense. But the lack of leadership in the front office and technical staff, that's what makes the difference at the end of the day between all these clubs. And when you don't have that, whether obviously everybody's going to say, well, what do you rather play? LA, New York, or Houston? Houston's probably going to be the last pick there. But if you can create the culture, of just, and that's not necessarily about winning at this point. It's just having consistency is the key there. It would definitely be a completely change of what Houstonians are used to with this club. And being in the back burner for the most part. There's Houston Dynamo fans that probably don't even really know that there's a Dash team, apart unless they go every single game and are more involved like that. And so it takes a little bit of marketing as well. I mean, we've touched on that before, and it's not to necessarily talk crap out of anybody and how they do their job. But if you're not able to even market them, why not, or one example, and I keep bouncing in my head, but one example that I had mentioned was, there's Houston Dynamo games, right? And sometimes the Dash aren't playing, and they're usually at home watching the game. Why not have like a table, in the corridor, and have a couple of the players from the Dash be out there signing autographs? Some of the fan men, I know who they are, but it gives you some exposure, man. And it's just as simple as that, right? And that goes for the Dynamo as well. Obviously they're struggling. It's not like the stadium is full every single game. I make it out to 99% of the games, and they've called a couple sellouts, and it wasn't that. It hasn't been that. The closest one was probably one of the first Hector Herrera games recently, and other than that, maybe the Seattle Sounders game back in 2017. It's been a minute, and so they are very nonchalant about their marketing strategies, I would say, and they just don't, they have a difficult time figuring that out, and so it doesn't help either, because at the end of the day, the players want to see the stadiums full, right? I think if you're a professional player, no matter where you play, right, no matter if you're like in a third tier, second tier, whatever you are. You guys mentioned West Ham United. Obviously, that's a completely different history, but you, not just them specifically, but you see like the third tier, fourth tier in England, and those stadiums have maybe 2,000 people, but there's 2,000 people are there every single game. So it shouldn't be an excuse to try to get 22,000 people to go to a Dynamo game. And then obviously, like, if you can get 10,000 people to a Dash game, like, the players want to play for those big um, venues. And then you see other teams in the league do that for both NWSL and MLS. So, but it all starts with that, with consistency and the head coach and technical staff, as you mentioned, Edson. Christian, you're
Amen.
quiet. Let's see.
No, I think you guys hit it in the head, right? It's one of those issues that it was from like the inside out. Hopefully, I mean, we saw it with the men's team, right? And hopefully the whole leadership, with Ted and having a new owner and having a new owner and the other guy, the bald guy that I'm blanking out right now.
Tim
Would you help
Howard.
me out? Tim Howard. There you go. Just a freaking historical soccer figure, but I forget the name. But yeah, having Tim Howard and
If he was
probably,
Argentinian, you wouldn't forget. That's
probably let's be honest, yes. But yeah, Tim Howard didn't save any. Had amazing games in 2016 or what was it, 2014 for the US. Whatever. And the point is that Tim Howard probably will bring a little bit of consistency, hopefully, in the sense that he's so involved in the women's game in a sense. And hopefully, these changes that we saw in the men's team hopefully can translate to the women's team, because that was the idea, right? That was the idea. I mean, when you look at, not to be rude or mean, but obviously the men's game is a little bit more advanced, I guess we could say, than the women's game, in the sense of how long it has been around. And the women's game is still kind of newish in a way, right? And a lot of people are still trying to get around to it, as you were saying, the fans, and some people don't even know it exists and stuff like that.
That's true.
But hopefully, with all the things that they have done with the men's team, that I feel like they're still learning and still kind of making progress on that, they can apply to the same, do the same thing to the women's team. And you can kind of see it now.
And that's the advantage, right? Because
Yeah.
they can see what's worked, what demands wherever, other different leagues. And you should be able to try to mimic a lot of that for sure.
Yeah. And they kind of did the same thing even with the coaching staff, right? I mean, if you look at what they did, obviously a new GM and stuff like that. And if you look at the coaching staff, it's not just quote unquote foreigner in a way. Like it's not a guy from another league that maybe wasn't as good as this one. You bring these guys from like Spain or England or Scotland or whatever it may be. What about bringing an American dude that has been around in the women's game? I mean, the guy, you saw the coaching repertoire that he had. That's a good word. The repertoire that he has. Hey, look at me. I read a book and I'm just saying repertoire. That all the stuff that he has on his background, and also being an assistant coach in the league, it also kind of gives him that familiarity. Another good one.
Good job.
Damn, I'm gonna roll.
Two so far.
I'm gonna roll. We gotta celebrate the little wins, guys, in 2025. But yeah, the guy has been around in the league. He's probably known, right? His name has been around. He's been an assistant. He knows how it runs. He's not coming into a new league trying to learn, new rules or whatever it may be, but he's familiar with the game. He knows how the players run. And you see a lot of the college stuff also having new rules and stuff like that. So maybe he can give, as Edson was saying, a something to be like a consistency, right? That's what we want at the end of the day. We want the Dash to have the same consistency as the men's team has, right now, with Ben Olsen, a guy from the league, a guy that has been around. And then you have a GM like Pat Onstad that also has been around, has been a proven, winner with Columbus Crew. So how can you translate, the wins from the men's team to the wins in the women's team? So the future is bright. We can see these moves, I think, speak loudly of the front office, in my opinion, just to kind of keep it Americanized, bring a GM that kind of knows the game. I don't know if that person is or isn't, but at least, the coach is familiar with the game, right? In the United States, he's been around, he's been assisting, and hopefully this is also somewhere where he can prove himself to be a good coach, because, assistant coach coaches are always looking for opportunities to make a name for themselves. And maybe if you're a foreigner, if you come from a different league, you're probably doing the same thing, but maybe it's not as hard, or it's not as I don't know. You always have a backup plan to go back to your country, right? And like this guy did, he was like, you know what, it didn't work out in the dash.
Yeah.
I can just go back to Spain and probably pick another team. There's always going to be opportunities. But this man, nobody knows him outside. He's confined to the NWSL. So the guy, he's going to stay in the NWSL. So hopefully this will be a good opportunity for him to build something. And like we were saying, hopefully the dash will give him time and resources to kind of move forward with that experiment of a way.
So now I bring up a question that hopefully both of you can answer. Because I know I've seen it brought up on social media a lot with this hire. Like, oh, why are we getting a guy that has no zero head coaching experience? Is the Dash really in a position to give coaches with zero head coaching experience at this moment?
But my first guess, like not my first guess, my first thought is no, but yes, right? Like obviously that's not the ideal, but then again, everybody that has come in has been proven, and they, for some reason, like you said, Edson, maybe they didn't like something here, or they didn't respect the club. And I feel like now, I mean, what could be worse than being last 2 years in a row type thing? That's the way that I see it, right? There's no worse. There's no rock. When you're at the rock bottom, the only way is up. So, I say let's experiment with this guy a couple of years, and then reassess where you're at. I mean, at the end of the day, what else is worse than sucking already with proven coaches and
Yeah.
whatever it may be?
Well, and I think to answer or to touch on Edson's question is the fact that it's all about what they've done with that main head coach, issue. Obviously, from all the scandals as you speak of that they've gone through, whether it be all the way from Clarkson, which is ridiculous. Obviously, that great hire, right, to bring Juan Carlos Amoros. They couldn't really, I guess, offer him, full position or head coaching, not being an interim with everything kind of hanging on the other issue, and then it just keep piles it on. But when you look at the squad, and that's one thing that I forgot to add a slide because I was looking when's the last time we recorded. I mean, they picked up a lot of players recently, right? And so they've done a good job of, a lot of the players they're bringing in, whether it be they signed. Let me see. So obviously here's the order of transitions that they've done since we last recorded was they signed Julissa Harris to a new contract. Then they acquired Kristen Westphal in a trade with San Diego Wave. And then they extended Alicia Chapman. Will give her a new contract for Amanda West. So Amanda West is my favorite. I keep telling everybody that she's going to be better than Ordonez, and y'all put that somewhere, man. Because if
Is
she
that
has
the
more
young girl?
goals, yeah, she's the one that they drafted last year, and
Oh,
they
okay,
played her
never
as a
mind.
wing. She's a striker, man. She can score goals.
We'll
Um,
write the name down.
yeah, write it down on the imaginary notebook. Another contract for Belbreed, and obviously a new contract for Kristen Westphal as well. And then the last one was Jasmine Ryan was signed as. So I mean they've picked up some really good players, man. And obviously you add that to or the really good defenders that you've had, whether it be Jacobs, Tarsiani, and Nilsson, Paige Nilsson. There's a lot to build on. And we can't forget Jane Campbell. I mean, my goodness, she's a beast. So defensively, this team is solid. Now, in the midfield, some questions are going to be at. Obviously, they've added a couple new names that I think they can do something. So it's a matter of having the right coach to do it. And the only value thing with this new hire, as you mentioned, Chris, is he knows the league. That's one thing. He's young too. He's not going to be stuck in his ways. I think he's going to be willing to work and kind of restructure his maybe thinking when it comes to playing style, being that he's brand new. So at the end of the day, he has everything. to take these team into a playoff position, which is not necessarily difficult in this league with not that many teams. But give him a year. I think give him 3 years. Let it kind of be consistent. Let him build something instead of being used to having like a coach every 9 months. A different coach every 9 months for the last 3-4 years. So, yeah, it's. I think at the end of the day we can't be too pessimistic, but
You got to be
it's
realistic
yeah,
at the same time. And
yeah,
the realist and the realness that has been happening has been great. So
yeah.
there's that.
But yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
What's up?
just one more thing. I think fans need to understand that with the expectations of bringing in coaches and stuff like that. We are not Portland Thorns. We are not Seattle Reign.
Yeah.
We are not big club. We are not a big club within the NWSL. So, and it's already big enough challenge to try to attract big names to come to the Houston Dash. Like I mentioned, all of the turmoil that comes with the name Houston Dash, the
Mhm.
reputation. So hopefully we can strike gold just like Atlético Nacional did with Efraín Juárez.
Yeah,
If not, I mean, I I guess I don't know. I think I understand the fans' point of view that we're tired of terrible decisions in the Houston Dash, but at the same time, I think we have to give a good long term support to whoever they decide. I think the club, the first thing that it needs, stability.
yeah.
That's the first thing it needs.
Big time. Big time. But Mike Peace over there falling asleep, man. He just says we're talking too much dash, man. I feel like it's not enough dash. I feel the dash have more news than the Dynamo, but we'll go ahead and move into the Houston Dynamo.
Move on.
Obviously again, not a lot of things happening for the Dynamo so far. But they have done some movement, right? They brought in a goalkeeper. Oh my
What?
god.
A backup
Signed up for
goalkeeper?
2 years. Ex FC Dallas. I believe that rivalry is dying, man.
Are you not entertained?
they drafted Bo Cummins from, I think he was, I'm not even gonna guess. I was gonna say Wake Forest, but I really don't remember now. And they did during that MLS Super Draft, they traded their first round pick, which everybody is excited. Dustin jumped the gun, said, "My God, they picked the goalkeeper." He didn't realize that the pick had actually been traded away, and so the Dynamo got 75,000 in GAM money from New England
Buddy
Revolution for
bucks.
that 18 overall pick. We'll see what that 18 overall pick. If they got a gem, some people are gonna be angry, man. But again, not a lot of player moves. Don't necessarily want to get too much in the rumor mill. There's people throwing out there to bring in James Rodriguez. I don't know, man. I don't know what you guys are.
Whack.
Yeah, I mean, I want them to bring like a known player, but the guy doesn't not gonna move the needle much. Granted, there was a lot of Colombians, during the Copa America that showed up. So
Yeah, but
Right.
why would we want a player that is clearly a national team player and not a club player?
yeah, no, I totally agree. He's a Giovanni Dos Santos of Colombia. That's the type of players that just show up when they wear the national team jersey, man. And even
Yeah, I think
then, he struggles.
You're giving him too much.
yeah,
With that.
yeah. Giovanni Dos Santos. It's yeah. Come on.
But I just meant in the sense of like he still did better. I mean, if
Oh,
you were
sure.
talking about Tim Howard, you get that goal is memorable, for every fan that
That
saw
was a
that
great goal.
Gold Cup.
Fírmala,
But then
Gio,
again-
fírmala.
But then again, James also had one of the best goals in the World Cup.
It was
Mhm.
pretty sick. I definitely would agree. But
But
again,
that's
not a things happen. Not a lot of things happening so far. We should actually be getting some kind of notice when it comes to what the offseason schedule should look like. However, we do have this list, I guess, or table. We actually have it on social media as well. I know it's going to be a
Very
little hard to
nice.
see. It came out pretty nice, I will say. I don't know who made it,
Shout out to the
but
guy who made it.
I had to look up the information. But right now, what the roster looks like, and this here excludes Jimmy. What's his last name?
Lozano?
I don't know.
More.
Mauro.
Sure. It has an R and an E and a U and a bunch of
There's too many.
stuff.
Yeah,
But we don't know exactly where he lands yet because his contract details haven't really been released other than he signed a 2-year contract. And obviously we know Tarbell is currently the only goalkeeper up, after Jimmy. But right now this is the best, I guess, estimated or
we should we should throw this up on X and then tag what's his face? Asher. Asher be like, hey bro, we good or what?
How close
and
is
then
this?
let him and then let him kind of pull his notes out and be
I
like,
hope
"All right."
that he uses my graphic, when he goes and talks to the next meeting. Be like, we need to fill up 18, 19, and 20, roster spots. But yeah, so Aliu right now, and again, this is just from, last season, basically, because a lot of these guys may be changing different type of allocation when it comes to the slot utilization, whether it be their DP, U22 international. But Aliu, U22 international, Arthur TAM player, X and Arsu, it's on there. Bartlow's on there. Bossy's a TAM player. Carrasquilla, TAM player. Dorsey and Ali, U22 international. Escobar, I'm a big fan of Escobar. Sebas Ferreira, DP. Come on, man. You guys love to see Sebas Ferreira as a DP. I know that. Everybody's trying to offload him.
Maybe this is a question for Dustin or Joey. I don't know if Edson may or may not know. I don't know if you know, Rudy. But are you guys able to explain what a TAM player is or a GAM player is?
Whew, that's above my knowledge. But no, it all has to do with how much money they make, and it counts towards the
salary cap.
The salary cap. I think it's literally a very specific number. It used to be like 540 something thousand when it came to salary. I believe it's closer to 643, and I remember that number because I saw it. But if basically that's like that right there, it's as high as a TAM player can go. And then obviously, you can have guys making millions of dollars, and those are DPs. But yeah, I think the threshold, it's as Edson looks it up on MLSPA. But yeah,
this is my guess. Is it because the cap is a certain number, right? Let's just say 500, right? And then you can use that money to kind of go beyond that number, so like that number doesn't count against you, maybe.
Well, so there is your idea is correct in the sense of like, so obviously you can have up to 3, right? There are over the cap, which are the DPs that don't count necessarily over it, and then the rest, say for shits and giggles, it's $1 million. So you kind of have to restructure everyone's salary to be under that, and then like homegrowns, they don't count towards that, and some of the younger guys.
Yeah, so apparently for GAM, you can use GAM money to pay
up
to pay up to 100% of a player's transfer fee and up to 50% of the player's salary.
So you're canceling it out. It's all Garver bucks, man. It's all imaginary. It's Bitcoin before Bitcoin. That's all I got.
MLS, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
For real.
Yeah. So, Kovalchik got one of the guys that got his contract. Picked up. He's also a TAM player international. Mikael, same thing, international. I mean, Mikael, we saw how much money that dude makes, dude. It's a steal.
I think I make more money than him,
dude. No kidding. Let my bonus hit in and probably beat him.
Right.
Ponce, DP international. Quiñones, the U22 international. Zviachenko, TAM player international. One thing that I want to add, since I already mentioned him and Bassi, Zvychenko and Basi. Both of those guys actually were supposed to have an option year. They weren't even mentioned. So what I'm thinking is they already got new contracts. They should be probably, we should be hearing about that soon. So that would restructure whether they're 10 players or not, basically, for 2025. Uh, Tarbell is the single goalkeeper right there. And then Valverde, which I don't know if you guys were able to listen to that interview that the guys had with Pat Onstad, but he's like, man, really, you guys are gonna talk to me about Valverde? Like, God, like Pat was talking to himself, like, yeah, you really screwed that one up, Pat. It was actually a pretty funny reaction. I mean, one thing that Pat Onstad is gonna give you is transparency, and he'll make it pretty funny, man, for sure. And then let me see. You have Gabe Siegel currently in the supplemental roster, which that fills up with 4 guys. And then the rest are homegrown. And there's a note there for you guys. The slots 25 to 30 must be filled with homegrown players or players 24 years or younger earning the reserve minimum. So it's a pretty good breakdown. We were able to kind of find all the information. So another thing, obviously, you guys know, now you can do up to 3 DPs, and then you would be able to do, if you do 3 DPs, you can do 3 U22s, or if you do 2 DPs, you get 4 U22s. And the international thing that varies as teams tend to trade those roster positions and stuff like that. So
We have 9.
However, well, currently we do have 9. Yes, because we had 11 by the end of the year, and obviously we lost Hector Herrera, and who else did we lose? Well, that was an international. Can't remember. But
Valverde, right? Isn't he leaving?
No, Valverde's one of them. But
okay.
Anyway, I can't think of who the other guy was. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So that's kind of what the roster looks like right now. That's as of January 6th. So we'll kind of see what that looks like pretty soon. Mike, any idea when practice starts? So good segue, man, into obviously we'll talk a little bit about that. The MLS roster did get dropped. So this started, and actually I took it from Dustin's notes. He picked 5 games to circle for in the calendar.
I have my own too.
Texas rivalry. So we have March 2nd, Inter Miami come and visit Messi and company. I guess Edson, you're gonna be in Austin that weekend, huh? But watching some NASCAR, and I definitely want to watch Messi. But Saturday, May 10th, that's Seattle Sounders. Obviously, a payback for the team that kicked them out of the playoffs. Wednesday, May 28th, they'll be at New York City FC. I put a diamond because how often does the Dynamo play in a baseball field? Come on, guys. This is rare, and they don't necessarily play them pretty often. And then July 5th, guess it gets the 4th of July weekend. They'll be at San Diego FC taking on the MLS Newbies with Chucky Lozano and company. And then October 18th, again at Sporting Kansas City for Decision Day. So it's kind of nice that they're actually in Decision Day as well. I remember a couple years back, they were already out of the playoff contention, but then you don't even get to play on the last game of the regular season, or last week. The regular season kind of sucked. But any other games that we didn't mention that you guys may be looking forward to seeing? And one thing to add is they will be US Open Cup. They're likely going to be more MLS teams in compared to last year. We're hoping the Dynamo are there. There will be a Leagues Cup with the Dynamo being on there. It's not official yet, but down the Pine Stream, it's supposed to be the top 10 teams, but you're excluding Inter Miami and Seattle Sounders since they're both going to be playing in the Clubs World Cup. So there's a lot of soccer, man, for sure. And I think after August, there's only like 3 games in Houston for the Dynamo, which is freaking crazy. Anyways, anything else, Chris, that you want to add, or Edson, that you thought of?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So the Miami game, we haven't played Miami since the US Open Cup final, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yes.
So that is, quote unquote, a rematch there, or a little grudge match. So that should be fun, right?
Who needs Messi when
Um,
you got Bossy? I think that's what they say. No,
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
give them
You
three
know,
penalties and you win.
that's
That's
it. That's all you need.
uh,
Three bosses and a Dorsey, and you're good.
that's it.
And then, well, obviously that one didn't mention Texas rivalries, but I think we should mention the fact that we start
Game
the
number one.
season
Yes, sir.
with Southern Oklahoma team FC Dallas coming to play here, and July 25th we play LA Galaxy. I always find it fun when you play the champions, right?
For sure.
They're doing their champion
They're
run,
dismantling the
but
team though, and that's, I mean, this is not a
it's interesting.
Galaxy podcast by any means, but you keep up with a lot of the guys that they let go. It's very interesting. I mean, granted, they could always bring powerhouses for sure.
Probably what they're doing, huh?
Yeah, and Mike, what you're asking? What's it called? The official offseason calendar has not been given out to us yet. However, FC Dallas did let everybody know theirs, and in there, it showed that Houston Dynamo will be having a scrimmage over there
So
in
dumb.
Toyota. What is it? Toyota Park? Toyota? Yeah,
Field.
Toyota. Oh,
Yeah.
is it Toyota? Pizza, or is it
Pizza
Pizza
Hut
Pizza
Hut?
Hut
Arena.
Park.
It used to be Pizza Hut Park. February 7th. So
It's
PHP.
Toyota. It's Toyota Stadium because Toyota Field is San Antonio FC.
yeah, I always get those two confused. I was like, is it Toyota Park, Toyota Field, Toyota
Toyota
Stadium,
trucks.
Toyota, right at Toyota. And
Let me throw in the last one before you move on.
yeah.
The Dynamo will be hosting San Diego on October 4th. So if those Chucky Lozano fans, and I don't know, maybe what's the other guy that they're rumored with, the guy from Man City, Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh yeah.
If he
Bruyne.
makes it out to the
Bruyne.
MLS,
Mhm.
that would be interesting. So start getting your Chucky Lozano chants ready because he's coming to town on October
Ooh.
4th.
Got to bring
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
a Chucky doll. And yeah, so we
It's
should be
like-
finding out from what everything I've seen. Mike specifically talking to you, since you were the one asking, players should be reporting within basically 7 to 10 days. So we should have, obviously they got to do all the medical tests and all that good stuff. Yeah, Chris.
I have a dumb idea. So if anybody out there looking to do a tifo, October 4th, the tifo should be Chucky with this head cut off, and then maybe like another one of those killers, maybe like a Jason,
Jason.
with like a dynamo mask or like an orange mask, like cutting the head of Chucky, and then saying, and then like a little bubble like that says "wanna play" type thing. I just thought it would be a good idea.
That's
So I'll take $10 for the idea.
there you go. Pitch it to El Batallón and
Hey, bro,
to the
I'm
search.
full of
Get
I'm
your
sure
bag, bro.
Yeah, get it, promote it, man. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's about what we're gonna talk about when it comes to the teams, man. It's been almost an hour, man.
wow.
It's gone quick. Honestly, we've talked a lot of different topics. Some people may not like it sometimes, but I enjoy talking a little non-soccer at times because, first of all, we're still getting to know each other, everybody in this group here, in the sense of like, dude, we all have different interests. We love soccer, but soccer is not our only love too. We have to kind of we haven't even gotten to talk food, so that'd be another
Neither.
episode. Maybe talk about some where I can find the best tacos when I go to McAllen, because I still have not found some good ones.
I feel like going to like that area of the world.
Yeah.
If you don't find good tacos, that's on you. Not no
agree.
shade on you, right?
agree.
But you're so close to Mexico that I feel like it would be impossible.
No, maybe no, I don't think so.
No?
It's been good so far. I just haven't had like the perfect taco that I'm maybe in my head thinking of. So,
And then one of my
difficult.
buddies, he's getting married. I don't know when. He just got engaged, so I'll probably have to wait like 4 more years for him to get married.
Sure.
But he's from over there, and he's gonna have the wedding over there. So I will probably going down there eventually. So I might have to get some recommendations, whatever the word is.
I actually so I grew up. I was born in Mexico City, and like whenever I was
Chilango.
5 or 6, we moved to Chilango, like for sure, bro. And you should hear
Las
my dad
quesadillas
talk.
son con queso, sin queso.
right? And
I don't know the joke, but that
yeah,
shit's hilarious.
but we lived in Reynosa for basically 3-4 more years before moving to Houston, and so I hadn't gone to McAllen in forever, bro. Like because we used to go all the time as kids.
Reynosa's in the border, right?
It's like
Yes.
literally you could
So
probably throw a rock and you hit Edson's house.
is it quote
I'm
unquote a bad
actually
place?
What?
no comment.
Is it okay? So he's not. But do you guys know Franco Camisha, the
Yes.
comedian? All right, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
He does a bunch of videos, and people are like, "Oh, I'm from I don't know, whatever," and he was like, "Uy, qué miedo." I feel like saying that every time people say something like that.
Basically, but so my point was that I had gone a lot recently. So I've gone probably 3 times in a year, which is a lot for not going 20 years or something like
Hmm.
that. And
There you go.
so because my wife has family that all have basically moved to that area. They live in that area. So it's been kind of fun to go around, and it's so like completely different what I thought in my head. It definitely has changed a lot, and they just keep building like really nice stuff around the valley. And again, you tell people like, oh my god, it's 20 minutes away, and I mean, Edson, you lived in Houston, so you are probably already like 20 minutes is nothing, man.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah. I joke around all the time about Houston time and McAllen time is where it's like, when I first moved to Houston, my commute was like almost like an hour and a half because of traffic.
yeah.
Damn.
And for me now it's like 20 minutes from my house to Edinburgh to where which is where I work. It's nothing, and it's like, and it is very little. Well, when there was construction with like the bad construction with I-2 and I-69, yeah, it did take a little bit longer, but even then it wasn't
He
that
was like,
bad
he was
as
23 minutes.
yes.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like they were like, oh, but that's like, I'm trying to think Hidalgo. Like, I'm trying to think of but it's like, oh, that's all the way like in Hidalgo. And I was like, bro, that's my Google map tells me it's a 10-minute drive. It's
What,
not that
No.
bad. Yeah,
what's funny is I remember when I was a lot smaller, and obviously McAllen was a lot smaller back then
sure.
too. Driving from South McAllen, which was where I'm living at right now, is this actually used to be my childhood home. So
Okay.
um, so driving from here to like the northern part of town was like considered, oh, it's so far away and stuff like that. Now it's like I can literally just drive like over there and be like, well, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Like we really complained like this was far away because it was like the outskirts of town back then.
That's crazy.
But man, no, honestly, it's been a great episode. I'm so happy to have you, Edson. But we can't leave you without finishing the segment that we have for you,
Okay.
called the hot seat. Houston.
Hey.
I don't want to write just Dynamo because I feel like it's gonna left people behind. But Houston Dynamo FC lightning round. So we'll give
Oof.
you 10 questions. It's a speed round per se, but don't take it like that. We'll
And
read
ping
them.
pong.
You give us an answer, man, and we'll finish with that. Let's see. Let's find out a little bit more about Edson and his love for the Houston sports team. But what's your favorite Dynamo kit, man? You have a favorite Dynamo kit? The one you're wearing is pretty dope. But what's your favorite?
I was gonna say that.
I'm gonna say the Bayou kit. The
The Bayou
Bayou
kit.
kit, and I'm still regretting the fact that I wasn't able to buy it.
It's
But
so
that Bayou
difficult to
kit,
find now, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
but that Bayou kit was so beautiful. Like I think is even more beautiful than the purple one. Orange kit, I want to say that as far as orange kits are concerned, I want to say my favorite is I don't know if you guys remember, but it was the one. It was back then when they had like the player version that was super tight,
hmm
but it had like the light blue obviously on the collar, and then it kind of went kind of like a large little thing over here, and then a smaller one over here that was also light blue.
yes.
That one
I
is
was gonna say,
actually
give me a second. You can keep talking, keep talking.
so that one is actually the first orange kit that I bought, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart.
All right. Well, he's doing that. I'll ask the second question.
Okay,
Favorite Dash player right now?
Jane Campbell for sure.
Do you have a why? Is it that one?
No, it's the one after. It's actually the one
That one's pretty though.
yeah, yeah. It's the one after that orange kit. That's my favorite one. It holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I realized after the fact that I'm like, wait, that one doesn't have the two. Yeah, this one was from '08. The one
Yeah,
I showed
yeah,
you.
yeah. Because it also had like some like sublimated like race shooting out of those two stripes, and I really like that one.
What's your favorite Dash player right now?
Jane Campbell.
Easy.
Yeah. Man.
Dream signing for the Dynamo. Please don't say James Rodriguez. Please don't say James Rodriguez.
Honestly, man,
Dream signing, man. If you want to say, what's that guy's name from Real Madrid? I know you're a Real Madrid fan.
yeah,
The one everybody hates. You're the one.
Vinicius.
Vinicius.
By the
You
way,
want-
I do have his scarf right
Say,
there.
I knew it. I knew it.
Whack.
But dream signing for me for the Houston Dynamo, honestly, Nahuel Guzman. I
Oh,
wish
that
we
would be
could get
cool.
Nahuel Guzman as a goal as the goalkeeper.
Imagine.
He brings so much passion.
You would bring
to
so
the
many
game.
fans. You would bring so many fans to the Dynamo. No kidding.
when he took out that
Yeah.
I love
a
Nahuel
clown.
Guzman, and I really wish he could retire with Tigres. But if he doesn't retire, I really wish we could get Nahuel Guzman here with the Houston Dynamo. I think just what he brings to the table would bring so much attention to the Houston Dynamo right now, and he's such a leader too. I think we really need somebody like him.
Orange, space blue, or purple.
Definitely, out of those three colors, give me orange.
All right. Favorite dash kit. Do you have any dash kits that you like? I like the Love You Blue. If I would answer that question, because I can't really think of the other one. So
I think for me, I really liked this past home jersey.
Mhm.
That one was really nice because it actually like I felt like they actually put a little bit of effort, and it really didn't feel like a generic orange Nike kit that they just happened to give to the Dash.
Yeah.
But away kit, honestly, I bought the one that was it had like the little stars. The
Oh,
white
yeah.
one with the little stars. I bought
Yes.
that one.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Austin or Dallas? Who's more annoying?
Austin, because they think they're better than what they actually are.
Favorite Dynamo player right now?
Oof. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it is going to be Bossy.
I knew
Oh,
it. Thought he was gonna say
dang.
Ibrahim Aliyu.
Oh my God.
Come on.
We dodged the bullet.
Toughest opponent for the Dynamo.
Oh man, it is. There's just something about Seattle, and that for me is like it's gotta be toughest. It's either them or Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah. Favorite Diesel costume. So he's a Santa, leprechaun. He has grills. Which was your favorite, man?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen his costumes, but I'm definitely gonna go with Santa.
All right, let's finish up with favorite Dynamo player of all time.
Oh man, I am a huge Brad Davis fan.
I'm a Brad Davis fan, man. That's
Cuidado que te escucha.
nothing escapes the man. He got satellite ears for sure. Man, again, it's been fantastic, man. Checking in from LA. Thank you, Hurtado. Jay Hurtado, man, listens to us from LA, man. Fantastic. Dude, we almost hit 200 people watching us live. So sorry if we took a little longer. I knew that the Dynamo were going to be very short, man. There wasn't that much news. You really can't split things 50-50 sometimes. Most of the times, and that's when if you listen to the show, you probably figure out that usually we're like 80% Dynamo, 20% Dash. That's just because that's how it tends to be. And every now and then we have like a full Dash episode. But man, thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully you enjoy your time here, and we'll see you more often, man. Anything that you want to share with the people, with the fans? Maybe you don't like Christian, whatever it is, man. Let the people.
It's all right.
honestly, what I do want to say, I want to say thank you to all of the Houston Dynamo Dash fans that supported me back since 2017, back when I was with the Peel, with Down in the Valley, Mente Futbolera, and all of these projects. You know, where I've tried to put in my little 2 cents on trying to help grow the coverage for the Houston Dynamo, the Dash, RGVFC, Dynados as well. Um, I kn- I know it was kind of tough for me after losing RGV to kind of continue. I did honestly, you guys, are the new generation of Dynamo podcasters, and I'm telling you guys, on behalf of Justin and Josh, that we're thankful that you guys took the baton and are leading the this push to bring more relevancy of the Houston Dynamo and the Houston Dash to the city of Houston. Uh, Honestly, it cannot be done without all of your efforts, your support, and just the fact that through all of that, you all reached out to me and had me in mind to come up and be part of this project. Honestly, I'm very honored, and I know I mentioned that with life going on right now, I can't be as committed as I was before. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna put in all of my knowledge that I have acquired throughout all of these years to help grow the soccer coverage in Houston. And you all have, like, Houston still has, despite the fact that I'm a 956 guy. Houston holds a special place in my heart still. So thank you all for your support, and I'm looking forward to this 2025.
Yeah, man, it should be a good one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're a pioneer, man. I think a lot of us that
Pioneer.
started podcasting it, we remember the PO and stuff like that. I sadly remember the PO because I was like so into it, and then it's like, what? It ended? What? I literally my first year getting into it, but like you said, it just kind of gives the baton to somebody else, man. We know, doing it, it's very time consuming, especially when you're just doing it out of passion, and it's not that the passion ever runs off by any means. I think the passion's always there, but we do start running out of time and things that we can do. But yeah, great episode, guys. I hope that you guys are able to, or that you guys enjoyed it. Everybody who watched it live, and if you didn't, you'll catch it tomorrow morning. That being Tuesday morning on the podcast feed, and actually it'll be on the YouTube and as a live show. So if you go to YouTube, by City Soccer, and then go into the live section, you should be able to catch this episode from there. And I did say the fan feud. So guys, look, you see this right here. I don't have a ton of or Dynamo stuff, but I do have a little bit of collections, and I feel like I can give away this Tim Parker ball if anybody wants it. So if you're interested, if you're interested, I know. See, this is a joke, man. So it's still there. I wasn't lying, Chris, when I lost.
We're still paying for the guy, so might as well.
Yeah, we're still actually playing for some of his. Maybe it just ended, but
Oh god.
anyways. But if no jokes aside, if you feel like you can give this a better home, or actually in the team sign ball from 2017, things like that, man. I prefer that someone that like a fan that really like bleeds it, gets it in that sense. And if it continues to grow the community, it's for the better of it all. At the end of the day, that's what we give away tickets. That's what we try to do, giveaways and stuff like that. So hopefully you listen to this and you check it out next week, and we'll try to do some kind of fan feud. Maybe get Hooties in here and see how much he knows. Put some people that think they know their club. Yeah, exactly. We'll put Jeff against Hooties and people like that. People that like know their stuff. I mean, why not? But anyways, man, Chris, you can tell the people how they can connect with us, brother, and we'll close it out.
And before we close it out, since we're all getting sentimental, I want to say my piece too. But yeah, first of all, shout out to Edson, Josh, and Justin, and all the other guys that came before us. I got to work with Josh, so that was pretty cool. And he's one of the few people that I know that has the actual crest tattooed on his body. So I thought it was,
Mhm.
it's very cool that, when passion kind of goes that far, right? The guy was in it. And we saw Justin in the Christmas party.
Yes.
We see him from time to time. He's working with Glenn, so he's still involved in the club somehow. Even though he's a Philly guy, we still kind of like him a little bit. But no, and then and then like Heto was saying, I wanna say shout out to Rudy and to Joey and to Dustin, especially Dustin, man. Dustin, he has been the freaking mastermind behind everything, and people don't understand that Bayou City Soccer doesn't exist without Dustin. And so big shout out to him. And then big shout out to Rudy too, because Rudy has been like the right hand man of Dustin, and a lot of the things that you guys don't know, but a lot of things that happen in Bayou City Soccer comes out of their pockets. So they're out there. The tickets that we give out and stuff like that as Bayou City Soccer come out of pockets of these guys, and they put out their time and effort. Manny too. And just all the other guys, I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but like all the photographers, they have to go and spend their own money to go to travel places and to go like that. Nobody gets paid. Maybe they get some work out of it, which is amazing.
And you
But
can be best friends with Hector Herrera sometimes. I
hey,
mean,
there's
some,
there's good things that come out of it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, no. So shout out to everybody that is helping us out. Everybody is supporting us because it's coming out literally out of our pockets. We pay for our own gas. There's not a lot of ton of money being made here. So every time we have supporters like Ugly Guppy, supporters like anybody else that's supporting us, that even gives us a space to kind of go into their place and kind of do a show from there. That means a lot the world to us, because we're doing this for the love of the game and the love of the sport and the love of our city type thing. So also shout out to people from the Dynamo organization that are always pushing us on.
Yes.
They're sometimes they're working with their hands tied, and we appreciate the work that they do for us, to kind of be able to for us to be able to get that information out to everybody else. So, but yeah, no, that's it. And just don't forget to go to the website, get merch if you can from there. Shout out Ugly Guppy, get some merch from them. We'll get more merch from them to kind of put it out there.
Jeff has his wishes.
Bro, that I would. Y'all seen that video of that guy that's crying with Messi? Like, like that would probably be me. But no, thank you to everybody, even to Jeff, man. A lot, people watching and kind of being with us throughout this whole time. It means a lot. So no, thank you everybody. Don't forget, check out the website BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you can see everything, all the blog posts, all the articles that we write, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and stuff like that. Next stream next week, right? We started
Probably Monday. Yeah, we'll probably keep it Mondays.
So
it works for us. Edson, what are you going to share, man? I see you with the phone, like giggling and laughing. There you go.
This is a photo from 11 years ago with that jersey that I'm telling you.
Yep.
Oh, that was nice. It has like a whole sleeve.
Yeah. I think I saw that Jeff called it the Running Man one. But yeah.
Which actually, check out our social medias, because obviously with the 10 years and the new jersey coming out, in the next probably couple weeks, I want to do a poll of what people think the best home jersey.
Oh, that's cool.
So we'll see if that one it's in there.
We're getting a new one, no?
Yeah, we know that you will get that vote for that specific jersey when it's on the poll. So yeah, you guys keep an eye out, man. And again, we really appreciate all the support. Don't want to add more to what Chris said. I think he hit on the dot, but man, don't forget to hold it down. Keep it forever orange. Keep following us, man. It's been fun. It's gonna be fun. We have a lot kind of happening and planned for 2025. So with that being said, peace.
Hey.